Now, our top story today, we move over to the United States, where a major disaster is still unfolding in the US state of Texas, where catastrophic flash floods have killed at least 79 people across 6 counties, including 28 children, with dozens still missing. Kerr County was the hardest hit, where the Guadalupe River rose an astonishing 26 feet in under an hour. At least 68 people died in that county alone, among them 10 young campers and a counsellor from Camp Mystic, a nearly 100-year-old girls' summer camp which was swept by the surge. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has declared a statewide emergency, saying the scale of loss is horrific. Here's what Larry Lather, Kerr County Sheriff, had to say.
As of 1:30, we have recorded 68 deceased in Kerr County. Among those who are deceased, we have 40 adults and 28 children. 18 adults are pending identification and 18 adults are pending identification and 10 children are also pending identification. Once again, pending identification are 18 adults and 10 children. At present, there are 10 Camp Mystic campers unaccounted for and 1 counselor. We continue to offer our condolences to those affected, and we will work tirelessly till we reunite them with their families.
More than 850 people have been rescued so far, many found clinging to trees or rooftops. Floodwaters are still rising as rain continues to fall across saturated ground. We're now joined by our guest, Spencer Critchley, communications strategist located in California. Spencer, thank you very much for coming onto the program. Spencer, we've discussed this previously. There's some serious questions going on about certain cuts which the Trump administration has made in regards to response timing. What have you thought of the government's response so far? We know that Donald Trump is planning to visit the affected sites. How significant will that visit be, and will it be any serious help or merely political theatre?
I want to emphasize what a terrible tragedy this is, and I want to be careful not to in any way exploit it for to make any kind of political point. So I want to focus on the facts that we know so far. And it does appear that conflicting accounts are emerging about how the local authorities, state and as well as the state and national authorities, responded to this catastrophic event. There's some finger pointing already going on, which is never a good sign. And it is unfortunately just true that it's very difficult to trust anything that comes out of the federal government under Donald Trump, since they have politicized the truth itself. The truth is whatever Donald Trump wants it to be from one day to the next. He was asked whether his significant cutbacks to the National Weather Service and other emergency-oriented government agencies might have played some role in this, and he just simply denied that it had, based, I would imagine, on no information whatsoever. He just doesn't want it to have had any effect. Whereas a responsible leader would, of course, demand to know exactly what had happened and demand to be told the truth after a careful investigation. That's why we appoint leaders, so that they can serve us, not so that we can serve them. But again, I want to emphasize a terrible tragedy, and whichever way the facts emerge, we need to follow the facts. That's one of the best things we can do in order to counter this tendency to try to politicize the facts.
Yes, of course, Spencer, and obviously a terrible tragedy it is. Donald, how do you think the Trump administration is going to respond to this? Do you think the government is going to make any real decisions in regard to climate policy, emergency response time, increased spending? What are your thoughts?
Out on that, unfortunately, and when you mentioned climate policy, this is a leading example. It's one of the leading threats the entire world faces, if not the leading threat the entire world faces. What it requires is responsible leadership in the United States and in every other country in the world, because it is a global problem. And instead, Donald Trump simply denies that climate change is a problem, and in fact insists that America go backwards towards a fossil fuel-based energy strategy, including coal of all things, which of course will just accelerate the crisis we're facing with climate change. This is a matter for the greatest concern, and the extent to which any of us here in the United States continues to participate in treating this as just the usual back and forth between competing parties of the left and right, I think is a very serious abrogation of responsibility. You mentioned President Trump's impending visit, and whether that would be useful or political theater. Well, I think we can look at virtually every other public event he's staged in his entire public career, and we can safely bet it'll be political theater. You may remember the devastating hurricane in Puerto Rico, where he famously threw rolls of paper towels at desperate Puerto Ricans, showing just an incredible insensitivity to the suffering and loss of life that he was confronting. And we've seen him perform like that as opposed to actually do his job over and over and over.
Yes, Spencer, please stay with us. We now have some more information for the viewers. US President Donald Trump has signed a major disaster declaration for Texas, releasing federal resources and also first responders. Trump says he plans to visit Kerr County on Friday. Here's his full statement.
And we'll continue to be there, and we're working very close with representatives from Texas, and it's a horrible thing that took place. Absolutely horrible. So we say God bless all of the people that have gone through so much, and God bless the state of Texas. It's an incredible place. To visit Texas, Mr. President, probably on Friday. We wanted to leave a little time. I would have done it today, but we'd just be in their way. Probably Friday.
There we have it, Spencer. Donald Trump releasing a statement on the thing, confirming his visit on Friday. Is that soon enough for you as a response? And also, obviously we can only go what his official response has been. What's your thoughts on that?
Disaster scene is symbolic rather than practical. Of course, it's importantly symbolic. People need to know that they have the attention of the president, but more importantly, they need to know that he's actually going to lead an effective response. George W. Bush's presidency was gravely damaged by what was seen as his delayed and inept response, at least on the part of his administration led by him, to Hurricane Katrina.
Of course.
In some ways, those days seem to be behind us, at least with Trump's most devoted followers, where the actual facts of the matter don't seem to matter too much to them. It's also very disturbing, frankly, the degree of sympathy that he's expressing for Texas, a very politically friendly state to him, which is the degree of sympathy you would hope he would extend towards every single part of the country, but has not. He was extremely cold towards the state of California when Los Angeles experienced its devastating fires just a few months ago, and was openly holding out the threat of conditioning aid on California being more cooperative with Trump's political preferences. Bizarrely, I'm not sure what this was about. He refused a declaration of emergency for the state of Mississippi, made by one of his most obsequious supporters, Senator Josh Hawley of Mississippi. And so it's extremely disturbing to see, as I say, his level of concern conditioned on what he sees as the requisite degree of political loyalty, or in some cases just his whim of the moment, apparently.
Yes, Spencer.